Welcome to Pathworking, the Tree of Life with the Alchemical Cabala. This week, we enter the path of Mem, the 23rd path on the Western Tree of Life. This path connects the intellect of Hod to the sphere of volition and power, a Gavura on the tree. The 12th key of the tarot is the key of reversal. If we look at the 12th key reversed, we see something like this.
Nice.
One great teacher said, if you want to see the truth of this world, turn it upside down and backwards. In Hebrew, there are 3 mother letters of the 22. 3 are called mother letters. Mem is the mother letter of water, which is the great mind. The 3 mother letters make up the 3 inner petals on the rose cross. And these same 3 letters make the central axis of the cube space. Mem connects the door of imagination in the East to the manifestation of appearances in the West. The Kabbalion tells us that all is mind. The universe is mental. All is mind. Okay, who remembers our simple tree? I hope you've memorized the simple tree for yourself by now. If not, make that happen this week. It will serve you in more ways than can be said. Notice on the simple tree that the suspended man is the first path on the path of return, meaning working backwards from the world back to the pool, that we encounter that leads us from the level of the lower mind, here, the lower mental plane, to the level of the higher mental plane. It does this by connecting the 5th sphere of volition and power to the sphere of the intellect, or Hod, the number 8, which is also splendor. So what is this liberation that is so often spoken of in spiritual traditions? Put very simply, it is remembering the real self. Immersion and consistent core practice with the key of reversal, the suspended man, will bring you within to the state called samadhi in the East. Samadhi is the self-conscious union with the divine self. Note the white cord around the foot, the suspended man. This is the superconscious state that is present everywhere, always. And when the personal mind has become very quiet and very still, what emerges to one's awareness is then sometimes called the ground of being, the very source of awareness, pure awareness itself, unidentified with anything, and present and connected to everything. The suspended man assists us to train our intellect, code, and mind to let go and surrender to the higher self, the will. As we work with this, we gain skill in doing this, which comes with our practice. Our experience in life then becomes one where we know that we are being guided continually, moment by moment, by an intelligence so great and benevolent, it is beyond words. And this being guides us always in the way. The way is always what is best for us and best for all. So please stare at the imagery here of the suspended man, and I'd like you to breathe it in and out with deep abdominal breaths. Breathe and feel at your core of your abdomen the imagery of the suspended man. In and out, deep abdominal breaths. As you see the suspended man, imagine you are suspended from the tree of Tal, just as it appears within you. Your right ankle, feel how it's wrapped by the white cord of life, and you are freely suspended from this cord on the great tree. Image and notice that on each side of you are two large tree trunks. You look to your left and notice there are 6 branches on the trunk to your left, and they are actively being cut back to the trunk itself at your left. See these branches now in your imaginal space being pruned back to the trunk of the tree. Now look to your right and see 6 branches being pruned back to the trunk of the tree on your right. And you are perfectly poised and at peace between these 2 columns. You briefly wonder what is going to happen to these 12 branches that have been removed, and something in you stirs. An unexpected excitement. Now breathe deeply. The light of the pearl gray wisdom that surrounds you and fills everything within and around you. And feel now the light of the sun behind you. Welcome this light. Welcome the sun. This is the direction of the self, just as the white sun appears behind the fool. This is the one that has cut back the branches of the tree trunk at your left and at your right. And with your knowing within you, see a clearing occurring, a sacred space, especially cleared for this light to come into your awareness and guide you as you come into perfect equilibrium with yourself. Take a few deep breaths as you welcome and feel this core of your being. And now simultaneously feel the weight of your body in your chair. When you're ready, open your eyes one at a time. And please share what comes to you reading our key for this week's path, the path of men. This key of the suspended man.
Who tied him there? There's no like bow on the rope. There's no starter end on the rope.
Mm.
And he's kind of young looking to have white hair.
I just realized that the white cross on his blue robe goes down to a circular collar, and we see half of it, but it would surround his neck. And it's the symbol for Venus. The cross, because you have to figure if he were reversed, standing in front of you, it would be the symbol of Venus, which is the cross and then the circle above it. And I never saw that before until now. It just kind of struck me. So there, Venus, love, etc. So that was quite interesting. And his eyes are open. We don't think about that. We think when we meditate, our eyes are closed because we're looking within. For him, there's no separation. Looking out, looking in, it's all the same. His eyes are open, his or hers. And that came to me while you were talking, that this, all of manifestation within and without is all one.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. The question real quick on this, because as you know, one thing that always strikes me looking at this is just like total relaxation, total surrender, just that, like there's no efforting or moving or anything, just complete relaxation into it. Question I had was, noticing the person's hair. Is this I'm trying to think, are there other cards that have white hair, or is this the only card where There's
The
white
ancient-
hair.
The Ancient of Days, the white hair.
Yeah.
That's the symbol of the white hair.
Because white being like Kether, right? The crown and all that, and the association
And,
with
and we also all get
divinity.
white hair, most of us, when we get older.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we equate that visually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I'm
we
also
don't-
just thinking things that like the outgrowth, right? Like the one thing that, I mean, outside
Yeah.
of like fingernails and stuff, it's like things that are visible that are changed and formed, all that is the hair and the fact that it's white hair here. And it's, just think of the, I don't know, just the whole thing of, the total complete surrender and acceptance and relaxation into this, you know,
Hmm.
the wisdom, the
The hermit
the
card.
resonance of wisdom, yeah, the
Yeah.
resonance of the wisdom and all that, yeah. That.
Because he's relaxed, standing at the pinnacle, guiding people.
Mhm.
It's the same thing you see.
Hermit is the white hair too. That's right. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Hmm.
And it's the same level of poise and relaxation.
Yeah, just I
Yeah,
guess it's
nice.
the thing. It's like with the hermit, that's a old man, and this person doesn't have the signs of it. It looks like a younger person, but with that hair, and then of course with the shine of the yellow, the this halo sun type thing going on here, the enlightenment aspect, all that around the person as well. But just something about the hair was like, huh, okay, it just kind of stood out. But that's just throwing something out there.
The emperor and the hermit have white hair too.
That's right. Okay, so thank you.
He has the you. He looks like the youth of the Fool card.
I feel like he's or she is illuminated with wisdom, because white hair is usually associated with wisdom, and that whoever this image is being guided by their own intuition. And so when things of the world, the person's able to decipher between truth and untruth. And the fact that there's a 4 in the legs means that this person can discern, which is the Emperor card, which is just can discern. I think, I guess, the falsities that surround us, especially today, there's a lot of untruths that are out there. Let's just put it that way. And I feel like this suspended man can see through it, is just so confident in being guided by its own or his own intuition, that is just very confident that the future is going to be bright, like is not gonna be it's not easily swayed by, let's say, what's on the television or what's got, not going to be fed a lie kind of thing, like, oh no, I got this covered because this is what I'm being told, you know what I mean, like that sort of thing. And I know how to discern, truths from untruths, and I'm going to be guided by my own self. And even if that means I have to hang upside down by myself, that's where I'm going to be.
That's awesome, Christina. Thank you. I want to point out before it goes, you just described perfectly the 3x7 layout of where this key falls, right? Everyone remember in the book on 3x7, the the teacher, the intuition is above the key of the suspended man. And then you said being trusting in and guiding, or being guided by one's intuition, and then it results in I can't remember the exact word you said, but it's recorded, a bright future or something like that. It's something so bright. And then of course the sun key is beneath the suspended man in the 3x7. That Trinity is how it is. And of course, gray on the tree is wisdom. That's all. Thank you. One other thing that occurs to me, Victoria brought up earlier when we were discussing the eclipse, how the new moon wasn't readily available to our vision, but we knew it was there when it came into the presence, into the alignment with the sun. And sometimes I think of the white hair of the suspended man as the water that has flown through and purified this aspect, right? Like the channel within which the suspended man is suspended, right? The eyes are right at the level of the ground, and then the hair is under the ground. So we know there's appears to be a current of water that has made this channel. But we don't directly see it in the key.
Right, and it connects everyone and everything. 'Cause
Exactly.
it's the water. It's like the living water. It goes between everyone and everything, and it's what creates.
I was looking up the color yellow because we have it at the base and then on his shoes. And I realized it's the color of Mercury, and it's also the super conscious level of mind, of the intellect. So, and it represents equilibrium and balance. So you have his feet, and then the light is out on around his mind. So it's touching into, because you were saying about the simple tree. And so I'm looking at the simple tree, and it's got the mental planes. And this card takes us up to volition, and from intellect to volition to the higher mental plane. And there's the yellow colors on there at the top part of the card. That we're looking at something that that higher mental level is revealing to us, that this is a picture that can bring that out in each of us by its ease. And the red, it's active because the color red is always active, color of activity. It's actively at the ease.
That is a really great way of putting it. Thank you. In the Western tradition, this key is sometimes associated with illumination.
Yeah, you have the red legs, which we run around on our legs, and they're even colored red, and yet the foot in both cases is yellow. So, and the hands, of course, behind him, we don't do it anymore.
Right.
We're just being, and this is a picture of just being at one. So staring at this for a while triggers your subconscious mind to place you in that consciousness. and you don't have to make yourself go there or do it.
Exactly.
Just slide in.
Right. This is the awareness that only the self is the doer.
Yeah. Yeah, activity in balance, which also takes our desire nature, moving it up to express at a calm, balanced place. Very powerful. I really like your little giving us the tree of life, simple tree of life. That's what he calls it, simple. Yeah, right. So many things going on there. Yeah, love it.
I wanted to share something. So one thing that stuck out to me was the elbows and the form that kind of emerges there. There's the oval. Really, it looks very much like the Vesica Pisces. You know, from each point of each elbow, and his head emerges through this what looks like a portal there. It's almost like giving birth. It makes me think of awakening. And that center column, that cross, the torso almost seems like it's emerging through the portal as well. There seems to be a portal there. Like, so it brings to mind for me the kingdom within concept, or the Father Son. I've been contemplating that a lot lately. The feet being yellow, at the very top of this key, and the head being surrounded by yellow at the very base, with the white hair, and you can see the white lines flowing through the center and so on. It's if we think of the foot like the kingdom, which is, you know, the kingdom of spirit is embodied in my flesh, and I guess it seems like we're looking at that, the kingdom. I'm not sure I'm really articulating this very well.
You know, you're articulating beautifully, Jesse.
Okay.
Absolutely beautiful. Yes, this is the kingdom within. And it goes both ways on the cube. Like Margot said, there's only one vision, there's only one seeing. And we tend to, when we're more identifying ourselves as that which appears to be in creation, the more we tend to experience life a certain way, right? And it's all one thing, but the more we turn within, incrementally, it's like Michael talks about us going into it and then coming out, and going into it and then coming out, right? And we're changed moment by moment through this process. And apparently it goes on forever, so that's what the experts say. So I have no reason to think that's not the case.
I was thinking how much trust this character, male or
So
female,
glad you
must
said
have
that.
because of the rope
Yes.
bended. And there's this complete trust And with that trust comes all sanity and security and relaxation.
That's the
All,
essence of this key, isn't it?
yeah.
You mean you just nailed it, trust. And what a reversal that is from this world.
You trust the unseen, and the unseen reveals itself to you, like the star key.
Hmm.
You trust what you can't see, and then it shows you more, and your trust grows. And the cross, I just never had seen that. The cross and the circle are the symbols of Venus. And then, of course, you've got the moon. So you have all of this, the feminine, the subconscious mind. The blue is memory, of course.
Yes, that's and the number 3, right? On the simple
Yeah.
tree, who remembers what the third sphere is called on the simple tree?
Divine mind.
Thank you. Perfect.
I never saw that as the ground before, the green. I always thought that was the leaves of the tree.
Huh.
So that puts a different spin on things.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
looks like somebody mowed them on there. Looks very nice. Very,
Mhm.
very tidy. And this is between intellect and volition. So what is volition? How would you define that term?
Well, what we say happens.
I love what you said earlier about action and stillness, the relationship between the two.
Yeah. Oh, volition is the power of choosing or determining.
Interesting.
So this card takes us to the intellect, to the ability to have the power of choosing or determining, will, an act of making a choice. You're in charge now.
Choice is different from like determine, what's the word? It's not deciding. Choice is not deciding.
No, the deciding is deciding.
Hmm.
The power to choose or determine.
Determine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I looked up the etymology of the word will, and it comes from an old English word that means want. That I
Want?
want, yeah.
Interesting. So one teaching associated with this key in the Western tradition is the master's words of myself, I do nothing.
Mhm. There
Speaking
it
of
is.
the lower mind that most of us, when we are incarnate into the world, we tend to identify ourselves with our thoughts and our feelings, right? These are the 7th and 8th spheres on the tree. Intellect and desire, what Michael's talking about. Oh, talking about the etymology of want. And here, all of that is offered up. It's let go of. When we let go of identifying with the lower spheres of the tree as ourself, something else emerges.
We identify with the will of creation.
Exactly. The true will. The one real will. That's not personal, and yet is more intimate than anything.
I
It's
checked
always a
the,
beautiful, sorry, it's always a beautiful experience.
Eli,
Yeah.
I'm checking the root word of the word volition, and it comes from the Latin volo, to wish, to want, to mean or intend.
Hmm.
So then they're also relating it to choose, to
Mhm.
want.
Okay.
But there's
Mhm.
but there's a it kind of says to me that desire is key in choosing and in intention. It makes me wonder if it's even possible to intend or to move towards something or to choose something unless you desire it.
Mhm. I
Desire
think
means of the
that's
stars as well.
spot on. Yes.
Of the stars. Yeah.
So the teaching is that all desire is rooted in the self. The higher or deeper we go into the tree, the less personal our experience of what we call this world is. It's not centered around our little self.
Our little I like, I don't like.
Yes. Yes.
And
All
sunders
of
on
the
a regular
things.
basis.
Right. Right. Our attraction repulsion. But it's one thing, right? So when we set our desire, and we purify it, which remember in Kabbalah, purification of desire is not the way the world teaches us of being good or whatever that is, but it's holding one desire. It's coming into loving or desiring the one with all our heart, all our soul, all our mind. It's one way of expressing it. Instead of wanting the 10,000 things.
All the shiny objects.
Right.
I like shiny objects, though, I will say.
Yes. The shiniest object
Oh,
is
it's the
here
sun.
behind the suspended man, which reminds me of Michael's teachings of what is behind us, that
Yeah,
love, that light.
yeah. Our shield is love. It's what protects us.
Speaking of shield, this key connects to splendor, which we know the root word of splendor comes from the brilliant reflection of the sun off of the golden shields,
Oh, yeah,
armies,
right.
armies, the Lord of hosts. And these shining ones, it's the brilliance. It's like when you're driving down the interstate and it's the sun, you catch it off of someone's mirror and you see it and it immerses you completely. That is splendor.
I think the sun reflecting on the ripples of the waves is yang.
Hmm. Okay. That would be another way of seeing splendor in Kabbalah. Yes.
Didn't they used to say glory Wasn't the word glory used for that Sephiroth?
So you bring up an excellent point, Michael. So in Kabbalah, actually the Sephirah of glory is Hesed, the opposite of the orange sphere of Hod, but it's basically Hod at a higher arc because of the blue and the orange. And it's said that Hod has its roots in Hesed, which is glory. Yes. So is everyone familiar with you? I'm sure you are with the Lord's Prayer, what Michael's referencing. Thine is the kingdom at the feet and the power, the red sphere of Gevurah at your right shoulder, and the glory, which is Hesed or the blue sphere at your left shoulder. It's said in another way of saying it in the tradition is Atah, thou, thine, a Malkut at your feet, Vegevura, Vegadila, and then at your heart, Leolam, which means forever. For thine, Atah, above you, the white light, manifest in your flesh is the kingdom, and the power at your right shoulder, Gevura, and your left shoulder, the glory of Hesed or Gedula, and then at your heart, Leolam, the golden sphere of balance between the above and the below. And then you end that with a deep inhalation and amen, which sounds something like Amen. See the light go back to the crown. It's just a reiteration of the middle pillar for us.
I heard a Hebrew expert recently talk about the word glory, and it's for the Hebrew word, which I forget what it was, it's the same as the word honor. And so honor and glory, but it also, and this is really counterintuitive, but the word glory is associated with weightiness, like, something that's important, that's weighty, or that has gravitas. And so when you apply it to honor thy father and mother, using that same word for honor, it gives a kind of a different meaning to that. It's like just simply give it weight, whatever your forebears or your tradition has brought forth, give that weight, and you don't just blow it off. Don't be frivolous with it. And so I'm trying to take, because this is really based on Hebrew, both the letters and the words. And so anyway, it's something to really look into, that I would like to look into and see how that relates on that particular path. Because we're talking about intention, we're talking about giving it weight, it's like intention or choice.
Right. We're not taking
Also,
it in vain.
right, exactly. This is something serious, and so, it's coming from Gebra, severity. So there's a real intention here. And this too, this is in the old form, the old cards, this was a hanged man. This was like an execution.
Yes.
He's not, this is not, and which then ties into the word volition, and it's like a reversal of volition, because he's not there by his own will. Nobody goes to the gallows, voluntarily, so it's that all these elements are tying in, and I'm just, I'd like to sit with that and see
He's
what
hanged by
comes up.
his foot though, not his neck.
Right, he's saying
Right.
it's the reverse of it.
Yeah, and there was a form of execution too, where you would hang somebody by their foot or by their feet, and so that their head just went into the water. So the only way they could keep from drowning would be to curl up, do kind of a sit up, contract their stomach muscles. But they could only do that so long. So it was,
Mm.
just another ingenious way to make death as hard as possible on some poor soul.
Mm.
I find it interesting that the foot is at the top of the key because it like I'm looking at this wondering which way's up, which way's down, and it works both ways.
Mm.
But I think it's given that I'm looking at the key here in the physical plane, it seems like we're reading it in the right direction, where the head is into the illuminated head is in the kingdom, is in Malkut, so to speak. But they're both in each other, but like I'm looking at the knee and the foot as a horizontal plane, and then the belt as a horizontal plane, and then the two elbows as a horizontal plane. So you have 3 planes. I don't know if you guys said this already, but if you did, I missed it because I was gone for a minute. But there's the 3 planes on the simple tree. There's the lower, the egoic, and the higher mental plane. So those 3 horizontal planes are visible here. And I'm thinking that the illuminated mind is in the lower mental plane, even though that sounds self-contradicting. But it's, the Father and the Son are one, that you can't necessarily have it any other way. It seems that I don't know. I want to see what you guys think about that. Is there more to that, or am I going off in left field here?
I think you're seeing, the reversal part of it, because normally the illumined mind would be, in the upward position, but here everything is reversed. And so if this is like this is associated with death because of the execution thing, but it's more, I'm seeing it, this is just my own take on it, but I'm seeing it as what we take into the experience. He's being, there's a desire. If desire and volition are a key element to this image, then it's a combination of an involuntary act with a voluntary act. Physically, he's being constrained and hung up there, but spiritually, he is choosing to bring light and illumination into a very dire situation. That's what I'm trying to,
I don't see him constrained at all. I see him at a
Yeah.
point of complete ease, at a point of
But-
trust.
Yeah, I know that's how it's normally seen. I'm seeing it a different. It seems
that's
obvious to me if he's hanged, then it's an execution, and his hands behind him. He's obviously, to me, it seems obvious that his hands are tied behind his back, because
Not
that's what you
necessarily,
do.
he's just not using them. He doesn't need his hands.
He has a
Well,
very
I think
calm look.
yeah,
He
yeah, I
doesn't need his
understand.
hands.
Yeah, I understand all of that, but I'm just entertaining
Yeah,
an
I get it.
alternative viewpoint and trying
Yes.
to find the widest context, which is, this is a hanging.
Yes.
And when you hang people, you tie their hands behind their back.
Okay.
You see,
Yes.
and so there's that element. So you've got volition and the total denial of volition.
Mm.
So there's a real paradox going on here.
Right.
And again, that's like a reversal, right? It's a
Mhm.
reversal of intention and
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
kinds
So
of things.
The result is not obvious to the
Right.
cat.
Exactly. What if,
task looks like this, but the result is completely different than what you would think it would be. It's
Yeah.
the result is that complete state
so
of
I love
Um,
what you're saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Margaret. Go ahead.
no, that's fine.
So what if, to Michael's point of seeing this from this point of view of a
Mhm.
hanging, which is, yes, this is part of it. What is it that's being hung? One. Two, if we follow the wisdom of the key, one thing we do is we enact it. We enact it. And what happens if we reverse
Mhm.
the key of reversal? What was perceived as gravity is
Wow.
we're now being raised and lifted into what appears to be light. And it's almost like that white cord is holding us to the top of the earth. We're anchored in the earth, but our head is elsewhere.
It's at the source because the tree of life is reversed.
Exactly.
Source is at the top of the tree of life, and the end
Exactly.
result is the base.
Exactly. And that goes back to this imagery here, which is a beautiful set of images to
Mhm.
contemplate in combination, one with the other.
What's interesting is this the suspended man key is in the midst of all the whole of all of the keys. So it it is like between fire and water. It is like, that Vesica Pisces I was telling you about.
Yep.
Like this is the in between place where life emerges and the child is born.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the mother letter of water, exactly,
Mhm.
Jesse, we see the alchemical symbol of fire and its reversal. Remember the saying in Cabala is the fire is in the water and the water is in the fire.
What's
Yeah.
the
And
symbol
this
for, Eli, what are you saying is the symbol for fire?
right here is sulfur inverted.
Hmm.
We see it in the cross of the leg of the hanged, the suspended man's legs is the cross of sulfur, red, and then the blue symbol of water is in the shape of the head and the elbows back here. This is the fire and the water and the water and the fire, and their equilibrium is the basis of what, sometimes we call the great work. This is also sometimes attributed to the beautiful teaching of the cocoon, right? Of the caterpillar and the transformation. When we go into that, you see how the shape of the interior of the tav is? That's one of the teachings associated with this. But the teaching of the waters in the fire and the fires in the water is not something we intellectualize. It's the inner experience, right? And it's similar to a baptism, right? Since we know Mem is the great waters of life, we're baptized both in water but also in fire.
Mhm.
But this can only be experienced within. It goes beyond our intellect to comprehend.
Doesn't it seem like, Eli, one thing we can take from this key is that the world key is now? Like, in the sense that the world key, we can think of the world key as, say, the end goal of everything we want in this journey, say. We can think of it like that, maybe. Or maybe that's the temptation. But this suspended man key is in the midst of the whole thing, which, if we use the as above, so below, the law of correspondence, we understand that the suspended man key is in the midst of everything, in the midst of every moment, in the
Yep.
midst of every
Yep.
cell of your body, you take it on any
100%.
dimension.
Yeah, you're spot on, Jesse. So if you might recall, you might not, but in the cube of space lessons, the center of the cube of space is occupied by two Hebrew letters. The most commonly understood is the Tav, the world key of Saturn, which is extreme limitation. And the secret letter associated with the center of the cube is Mem, the waters of life,
Mhm.
which we know is flowing through the high priestess, right? The great mother. So yes, you're exactly correct. This is the center of being, expressed in the ways that it's being expressed. And just speaking for myself, I don't think it's not like a unique it's not a original thought, but I think what's being hung here, what's being offered up, right? If in some keys this is Odin on the cross, right? Or the crucifixion, that sort of thing, is it's the identification of self with the personality, which is the lower four spheres on the tree. The lower four spheres are also holy, so don't take it to mean that they are less than. They're not, because there's only the divine. But it's identification of self with our lower natures and our incarnated experiences that is being transformed through these processes. One thing I really like that speaks to me is that the spiritual path in a nutshell is simply re-identification of self. And it goes on forever, but closer and closer to the creator that we are connected eternally with or to. I know one teacher loves to say, and I love this saying, that what we really truly are eternal beings of light, life, and love. That's good news. That's good news for us. Would anyone who hasn't shared anything like to say anything about the suspended man? Okay, that's fine. Does anyone else have anything else to share with this week's key?
The planet Neptune is associated with this key and because of the water and
Yes.
vibration.
Thank you. I was just looking at the Jewels of the Wise on this, and this is called the stable intelligence.
The world needs more of that.
Stability, yes. It's a little haywire. This is a spiritual experience. This is one, physically, it looks rather awkward, but and uncomfortable. But which is all you see is not all there is. It's like saying, okay, this looks like if I'm going to go hang myself by my foot out in the backyard off a tree, it could prove to be uncomfortable because I'm doing it physically. But this is, you do this not physically. You do this in heart, the trust is the greatest difficulty that we have. So he's held by the cord. And that is the one thing we learn when we're at the altar, when we're going out. Trust that when you speak, it manifests. That is the hardest thing. And yet that is the only thing that gets you there, to the point of realization of who and what we are that you just expressed. And then living from it. And then it's all very comfortable. Because it's not physical.
Yes, thank you. And so this week in your core practice, do exactly what Margot's suggesting. Hold this imagery in your physical vision, which we know is really not separate from your inner vision. And breathe in and breathe out the imagery with the intention of trusting in that which gives us all life. Every single one of us. This practice is what tarot is for. It's how we use it in our Western modern mind. It connects us to the deeper recesses of self in ways that are skillful. And it's just that simple. It's just as simple as holding the imagery still within you as clearly as you can. And if you can't see it as vividly as you would maybe like to in your inner vision, hold it in your knowing, your inner knowing. You know what is in the imagery of the key. Hold that in your awareness and offer that up. And then allow the volition of the one life to move you within and see where it takes you. And trust. Anyone else? Okay. So this week, follow your intuition to whatever practices come to you with this key of reversal. Put your intuitive prompts into action. Christina brought this up perfectly at the beginning of our class. And watch what unfolds within and without for you. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. This concludes our outer lesson on the path of Mem, the suspended man and the mother of water. May we all be blessed by the One this week, as the One wills. Thank you all so very much for your light and presence.